The cameras rolled, the audience lights brightened, and the familiar music faded beneath the cheerful applause from viewers both in the studio and at home. It was supposed to be just another episode of Live with Kelly and Mark, a show that had started their mornings for decades, yet this morning felt different even before the first words were spoken. There was an unusual quiet in the studio, a subtle hesitation that seemed to hang in the air, as if the room itself sensed something was about to change. Kelly Ripa stepped onto the stage, her signature sparkling smile present, but her eyes betrayed a hint of fatigue and emotion. Mark Consuelos, her husband and co-host, walked beside her, offering steady support as he addressed the crowd. But his voice carried a softness that hinted this episode would not follow the usual cheerful rhythm viewers had come to expect. The pause before the words. As they sat down, the familiar banter never came. Instead, there was a long, heavy pause, the kind of silence that makes an audience lean forward in anticipation, unsure of what was about to unfold. Kelly fidgeted slightly with her hands, and the audience began to murmur quietly among themselves. Finally, she inhaled deeply, steadying herself, and offered a small, trembling smile. "Good morning," she began, her voice soft, almost fragile, as if she were carefully placing each word into the space before her. Mark rested a hand lightly on the desk, a silent gesture of support. The moment was raw and unscripted. There were no teleprompters, no prepared notes. The air felt charged with anticipation, and viewers watching from home sensed that something heartfelt and profound was about to be shared. Speaking from the heart, Kelly's gaze swept across the audience, reaching not just those in the studio, but the millions of viewers tuning in from their homes. "You've welcomed me into your lives for over 3 decades," she said softly. "You've seen me grow up, raise my children, make mistakes, laugh, cry, every part of it." A few audience members gasped, some already dabbing at tears. "I can't tell you what that has meant to me," she continued, pausing to gather her thoughts. Behind her, the producers watched quietly, aware that Kelly had decided to take control of this moment on her own terms. The studio, usually buzzing with energy, held its collective breath. She was about to speak a truth that had been forming for years, a truth that would mark the end of an era, but also open the door to a new chapter of life. A decision made. Before the show began, Kelly had walked into the producers' meeting room with determination. "I need to tell them today," she had said, her voice steady, despite the weight of what she planned to announce. Those around her knew not to question it. They understood that when Kelly set her mind to something, she followed through with quiet resolve. She had spent over 30 years on television, a career longer than some of her viewers had been alive, and she had earned the right to choose how and when to say goodbye. Yet, even those closest to her didn't fully know the details of her message until that very morning. Now, at the desk, the teleprompter was empty, leaving her to speak from the heart. Every word she would share came from a lifetime of experiences, of love, of laughter, and the quiet exhaustion of a life spent in front of cameras. The weight of change. Kelly took a deep breath and began again, this time more firmly, her voice carrying the weight of years spent living under bright studio lights. "I've always believed," she said, "that when something no longer fits the life you're living, you have to acknowledge it, even if it's hard." Mark looked at her, eyes full of support, understanding the gravity of the moment. "I've pushed through exhaustion, long days, and overwhelming pressure because I love this show. I love the people I work with. And I love all of you," she said, voice trembling slightly. "But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of where I ended and the cameras began." There was a quiet rustle through the audience, an emotional resonance that filled the studio and spilled across living rooms. Kelly's honesty created a universal connection, the kind of moment that transcends television and touches hearts. Sharing a lifelong journey, Swallowing hard, Kelly lifted her chin, a posture her viewers had recognized for decades. Poised, strong, yet vulnerable. "I'm not coming back," she said, the words hanging in the air like a gentle shockwave. The audience was stunned, some gasping, some whispering to neighbors, some frozen in silence. Mark remained silent, letting her speak uninterrupted, a steady presence beside her. "I should have told you sooner," she admitted, "but I needed time to understand it myself." Behind her, the screen began displaying images from her early career. Moments with Regis Philbin, red carpet appearances, Halloween specials, and other memorable milestones. Each frame told a story of a life devoted to connecting with people, moments that reminded viewers why she had been such a cherished presence in their daily routines. A personal reflection. Kelly's voice softened as she continued, eyes glistening but steady. "I walked into television at 25, bright-eyed, scared beyond belief, and every day you made me feel at home. I have no regrets, not one," she whispered, letting the memories wash over her. The images behind her reflected decades of laughter, joy, and connection, each frame a reminder of her enduring impact. Mark finally spoke, gently leaning toward her. "Kel, are you sure you want to do this now?" he asked, concern and support evident in his tone. Kelly nodded, expression soft yet resolute. "I have to," she said. "Otherwise, I'll talk myself out of it again." His understanding smile and nod affirmed the silent bond they shared, a partnership that had carried them through the highs and lows of life, both on and off camera, prioritizing life beyond the camera. Turning to the audience, Kelly explained the reason behind her decision with a candid warmth that resonated immediately. "This isn't about drama or scandal," she said firmly. "It's about waking up in the morning and not feeling like I have to perform before my feet even hit the floor." She glanced at Mark lovingly. "I want to make breakfast slowly, sit outside with my coffee, walk my dog without rushing back to get camera ready. I want time with my family, with myself, to simply live life instead of scheduling every moment." Her words, though personal, echoed with universal truth. Audiences across the country understood the longing for simplicity, for real-life moments that television can't replicate, and many felt a shared sigh of recognition, a soft, emotional connection forming quietly in living rooms everywhere. Honoring a legacy. Kelly paused as the weight of her message settled over the studio. "This show has been the chapter of a lifetime, but it's not the whole book," she said, letting the sentiment sink in. The audience responded not with loud excitement, but with quiet, heartfelt applause, a reflection of respect and admiration. Mark reached across the desk and took her hand, a reassuring gesture of love and solidarity. "I'm unbelievably proud of her," he said softly. "This woman has given everything she has, and she deserves what comes next." Kelly smiled through a tear, her humor gently breaking the tension. "If you're not careful, I might end up on TikTok selling homemade jam," she joked, and the room laughed, a small, necessary moment of levity in a deeply emotional morning. Saying goodbye with gratitude. As the show neared its commercial break, Kelly took a final moment to speak directly to viewers. "People often ask how I stay positive," she said, voice trembling but sincere. "It's because of you. Even on days when I felt like I was falling apart, you reminded me there was joy, laughter, and things worth getting up for." She paused, letting the sentiment linger, then continued, "Thank you for your love, your support, your patience, and the moments and memories we've shared together." The audience slowly rose, applause growing into a wave of emotion, a testament to the bond she had created with millions. Mark squeezed her hand, silently affirming the shared journey and the profound impact of her honesty and courage. Embracing new beginnings. Kelly's final words carried the weight of a career, a life, and the hope of what comes next. I hope you'll remember me as someone who tried to make your mornings a little brighter, because you certainly made mine meaningful," she said, voice tender but resolute. Mark added softly, "You are one in a million." And she blinked, letting a genuine smile spread across her face. The red light on the camera blinked, signaling the end of the broadcast. No dramatic countdown, no scripted farewell, just honesty, vulnerability, and a heartfelt goodbye. In that moment, viewers everywhere understood that what they had witnessed wasn't just a show ending, but a celebration of a life fully lived, a chapter closing gracefully, and the beginning of whatever comes next.